Look, everybody knows there's something wrong with them. They just don't know what it is. Everybody wants confession. Everybody wants some cathartic narrative for the guilty, especially. But everybody's guilty.
The strongest DMs don't beat players with stats. They beat them psychologically. Because fear, paranoia, and anticipation, those are things players actually remember. Anticipation is sometimes stronger than action. Players fear what they imagine more than what they can actually see. The human brain likes to fill gaps with worse things than you could ever describe. Think about horror movies. The monster is usually scariest before you can fully see it. Because once something is fully visible, your brain starts to understand it, and understanding starts to kill fear. And the moment players stop having the full information, their imagination starts working against them. Patterns control player comfort. Players build subconscious rules about your world, and they'll do it pretty fast. Taverns are usually safe, merchants are neutral, guards are background NPCs, and healing always comes after battle. Those patterns create emotional stability, and players stop questioning things once they start to feel familiar. Once you intentionally break a pattern, players instantly become alert. Fear isn't created by danger, it's created when familiar things stop feeling predictable. Control information. Over-explaining kills tension. DMs accidentally destroy too much mystery by explaining too much too fast. You know the full truth already, but your players don't. The more immediate you explain something, the less power it has. And honestly, that gap is where immersion lives. Only give partial answers, because mystery creates engagement because players start participating mentally. The moment players start asking questions instead of receiving answers, they become engaged. Players will spend 3 real-life hours investigating a meaningless spoon if you describe it suspicious enough. And world reaction is psychological. The moment the world starts reacting realistically to player actions, players become emotionally invested. Players emotionally invest in worlds that acknowledge their existence. A static world feels fake, but a reactive world feels alive. Say your party burns down a gang hideout. It's a cool moment, and now skip ahead 5 sessions. Streets are quieter, stores are boarded up, and people stop talking with the party. And they suddenly realize, oh, we've changed something. Consequences make actions feel permanent. Permanence creates emotional weight. And murder hobos get real nervous the moment NPCs start remembering their name. Silence is a weapon. One of the strongest tools a DM has is shutting the fuck up. Most DMs rush to fill that silence because the silence might feel awkward. But the silence creates anticipation. Stop talking after reveal. Let players theorize when you release information. Just hold eye contact and don't resolve anything immediately. The longer players sit in uncertainty, the more tension that they'll create for themselves. Make your players paranoid carefully. You don't want them scared of you, you want them emotionally invested in the world. This only works if players trust the experience. Paranoia works best when consequences are fair, clues and logic exist, and players can still succeed. And if traps are just random nonsense, they really just start to stop engage. Psychological tension without payoff just becomes frustrating. But if danger follows understandable logic, then it can lead to some fantastic moment. But here's 4 things you can do as a DM. Make safety unstable. Players emotionally relax when routine becomes predictable. That relaxation is important because tension only works if players have comfort. Fear hits harder when it interrupts normalcy. The innkeeper has always been warm and talkative. One night, he keeps forgetting the players' names. Not aggressively, dramatically, just slightly wrong every time. That small inconsistency will scare players way more than a monster attack, because now the players will feel something is fundamentally off. Have your environment deny that familiar. Have food taste wrong. Maybe the dogs stop barking in the background, clocks have stopped, there are no insects outside. Maybe nobody makes eye contact with the party the whole session. The brain will notice these missing normalcies faster than any obvious danger. The second thing you could do is delay your consequences. Delayed consequences make players realize their actions don't disappear when the session ends. In video games, players expect the world to reset, and at tabletop, you can weaponize this memory. Say the players extort a small business owner early in the campaign, then months later his daughter joins a gang. Not because the players are evil, but because their actions have a ripple effect. That will end up creating guilt, reflection, and more investment. Delayed consequences don't always need to be a punishment. Sometimes they can just be emotional. An old ally becomes bitter. The city becomes poorer. Rivals gain influence. Children can idolize the party for the wrong reason. The best consequences don't have to feel scripted, they should just feel inevitable. The third thing you can do is have conflicting information. Humans naturally seek stable truth. When information stops aligning, people become deeply uncomfortable. The party comes to investigate a massacre. Witness 1 says it was a monster, but Witness 2 says it was the guards. And the official records say nothing happened at all. Now your players are going to stop asking what happened, they're going to start asking who's lying. And that's a huge shift psychologically. Conflicting information forces players to participate mentally. That's important. Passive players become active. Mystery becomes immersive the moment players start building theories. The fourth thing is move the world along without them. Players are used to games waiting for them. TTRPGs don't have to. The moment players realize, oh, things are happening without us, urgency becomes real. Let's say the party ignores political tension because they want a side quest, and a month later martial law is now active, there's checkpoints everywhere, and curfews are being enforced. Now the world feels alive because history advanced without their permission. Living worlds create that pressure naturally, and you don't need to fake any urgency anymore. But good DMs don't need to manipulate players to win. They manipulate emotion to create strong immersion. Because the most memorable campaigns usually aren't the ones with the biggest fights, they're the ones where the players actually felt something. But all of this works for one reason. Emotions create memory. Players rarely remember the exact combat roles, AC numbers, and initiative order, but they'll always remember that dread, the paranoia, uncertainty, the relief, guilt, and triumph. That emotional reaction is what makes campaigns feel real. And if you want to see more stuff like this, drop a subscribe, hop into one of my lives. We'll be doing a lot more content for TTRPGs.